plans for a crisis. But each year, hundreds of our neighbors find themselves in a crisis situation, unprepared, confused, and suddenly very vulnerable. Whether it's a devastating flood, alcoholism, or terminal illness, these kinds of situations do happen, and more frequently than most people realize. It's not what anyone would want. It's just a fact of life. This is where the United Way agencies fit into our community. Currently, 19 local agencies, made up of staff and volunteers, reach out to the elderly, the homeless, the neighborhood youth, the handicapped, the victims of rape and domestic violence, and the victims of natural disasters. And some of the United Way agencies are geared toward the prevention of a crisis situation. Whether you realize it or not, you have probably had contact with at least one of our United Way agencies at some time in your life. Do any of these sound familiar to you? American Red Cross, Bi-County Nutrition Program, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Hope Incorporated, Senior Citizen Center, the Salvation Army, the Sheltered Workshop, YMCA, YWCA, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Kids on the Block Program, People's Hospice, Rainbow House, Genesis Youth Center, 4-H Leaders Camp Scholarships, Family Service, Crisscross, and the Association for Retarded Citizens. All of these agencies are different. They serve different kinds of people, but they all have one common element. Their staffs all give of themselves to help their neighbors. And people just like you give of themselves to support their efforts. Only 2 of the United Way workers hold paid positions. Over 100 people are volunteers, giving their time and expertise to serve on committees and their financial support through campaign contributions to further a cause they believe most worthy. Take the Grants Committee members, for instance. People who have little or no knowledge of the structure of our United Way can have some very misguided perceptions of how and to which agencies the funding is distributed. Every year, a panel of volunteers, one of which may even be your next-door neighbor, assembles to review applications submitted from many local charitable organizations, all of which are seeking funding for survival. The committee members, who are not representatives of the agencies, spend many hours of many days screening the applications, looking at the organization's purpose, their present source of funding, and how many and what kinds of people they affect. The ultimate question being, what effect will this have on the community if this particular agency is not selected for support and does not survive? Many times, it is a very hard decision to make, but it is this committee's responsibility. In this way, these people give a little more of themselves to help the United Way agencies. Another committee that is sometimes misunderstood is the Campaign Committee. This, too, is a total volunteer committee whose purpose is to educate and canvass prospective donors. It would be very easy for these people to give up after some of the situations they encounter in seeking contributions. Thankfully, they don't, because they see the worth of their task and are dedicated to giving a little of themselves for the United Way. We've talked some about our United Way. Now let's look at some of the agencies to which our contributions go. This agency provides a variety of services to people age 50 and over through the Downtown Senior Center and 12 satellite centers countywide. A wide variety of social, healthcare, and educational programs are offered, including telephone and visiting reassurance. For someone who lives alone, this service can be a lifeline to help and independence. Programs are intended to help older adults continue to live as independently as possible. The Kids on the Block program provides an educational puppet program for children and adults that talk about such things as child abuse, sexual abuse, drug and alcohol abuse, divorce, aging, fire safety, understanding handicaps, and many more. This program is intended to help people develop healthier attitudes toward themselves and others. People's Hospice provides medical, emotional, social, and spiritual in-home support for the terminally ill and their families. Hospice accepts clients regardless of ability to pay. The Sheltered Workshop is a work activity center that provides work evaluation, work adjustment, and extended employment of handicapped adults. Programs are designed to develop each individual's highest level of social and vocational functioning, helping them toward a feeling of accomplishment and self-worth. These agencies, like the rest of our United Way agencies, provide services vital to the health and well-being of our community. The staffs work hard, but they can't do it alone. Without the support of people like you and me, these agencies could fail. Luckily, some of us have seen the need and responded, and we have just witnessed some of the results of that response. Unfortunately, however, the need is growing, so the support must be increased. We all need to give a little more of ourselves. How can you give a little more of yourself the United Way? I think I can answer that question by reminding you of a story we've all heard since early childhood about the lion and the mouse. It seems that the lion once got a thorn caught in his paw.
Ow!
And try as he might, he just couldn't get it out.
Ow! Oh! Ee! Ah!
It hurt so bad that he began to sob. As you will remember, along came the timid little mouse. Frightened by the lion, the mouse turned to run away when the lion's other big paw caught his tail and stopped him in his tracks. When the mouse realized that the lion was crying, he asked him what was wrong. The lion showed him his paw and between little sobs explained that he could not get the thorn out. The brave but shaky little mouse found compassion in his heart for his fallen king and removed the thorn, knowing all the time that he would probably be the lion's next snack. Much to the mouse's surprise, the lion was humbled and grateful. Instead of turning on the little mouse, he submitted to him and vowed eternal friendship and favor. We can all be like the little mouse. We, too, can give a little of ourselves in several ways to those seeking compassion and a helping hand by becoming a United Way or an agency volunteer, and by helping to provide the financial support critical to the survival of these programs. It may not seem like a lot to you, but to the United Way and its agencies, it's what takes the thorn out of the hurt paw. So when the United Way campaign volunteer from your area calls on you, remember the lion and the mouse, and give a little of yourself the United Way.